Have you ever heard of a single DD glass diaphragm? Well, the Sivga Q UTG happens to have a glass diaphragm, and let's check it out. Good day guys, this is Practiphile, and yet today we're going to take a look at the Sivga Q UTG. Thank you so much Sivga for sending this in for a review. My thoughts are my own as always, and yeah, it says here that it's an ultra UTG, no, ultra thin glass or something. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but it is a glass diaphragm as they've said. I don't know how they do it, but yeah, I think Sivga is related to K-Fine, if I'm not wrong, or maybe K-Fine is their sub-brand. But yeah, the unboxing is pretty similar. You get the box here, and the IMs were sitting here. You get a good carrying case with different ear tips and an interchangeable connector, 4.4 and 3.5, which is good. Oh, I forgot. The price is actually around $89 or 90 bucks. So depending on where you buy them, it can be a little bit more expensive or cheaper. The cable is fine. Yeah, I mean, it's expected for this price range. It's not bad, it's not good, but hey, interchangeable cable connectors, that's pretty good. Fit is, I mean, they look big, like when you look at them, they'll actually look bulky, but they're actually not that bulky because, you know, look at that there. It's not really that so bulky, and the fit is actually really good. It sits really deep in your ears, and so sometimes you have to experiment with and with different ear tips, because I think they included like two sets of ear tips, man, like a lot of ear tips. But I finally settled with one that, you know, that would sit really deep because yeah, just find your perfect fit. So that is for the non-audio or non-sound impression. So let us now move on to how they sound. All right, so let's start with its tonality. Or let's actually just start with the graph here. Let's see, so the Q UTG graphs like that one over there. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Yep, it is an upper mid focused IM, and it's probably the glass diaphragm doing that. So the tonality, it's leaning on the brighter side. Then there is an emphasis on the upper mids. Yeah, so if you're sensitive to that area, probably this IM is not for you. The bass is tight. There's not a lot of elevation in there, so I mean they could have been probably increased it a little bit just to compensate for that upper mids gain in there. But yeah, the bass is almost kind of like neutral and tight. Not a lot of impact because of course, as you can see there, it's really not for bass heads. It's mid-based focused. I don't really see it bleeding into the mids. Maybe if there are, it's gonna be masked by the upper mids anyway. So yeah, the mids have a brighter tinge, especially for female vocals. Male sounds okay, but kind of like lacks a little bit of heft, and you just can't see it with the overall signature in there. And again, for the treble, you may be very sensitive to this area here. Apparently, yeah, I hear the peaks, but it doesn't really annoy me that much. Maybe it's just because of my age. Maybe for younger people, you are more sensitive to that area. But yeah, there are people who enjoy details, and actually this peak here brings up some of the nuance and air and details on a song, because this area here is the presence era, so it just, you know, brings forth some of those like hi-fi characteristics of a sound. Technicalities, the detail retrieval is good, and it's partly because of the elevation in the treble and the upper mids. So yeah, if you like details galore, it is with the Sivga glass diaphragm. The perceived stage is wider, and again, it's because of that elevation in there. But using it in my drums, because I tried it playing, it did have a little bit of timbral inaccuracy, especially with the toms, especially with the floor toms, because they usually have a little bit lower in tone. But with the UTG, I felt like it had a little bit of upper tone to it. It didn't quite sound like a floor tom, and it's partly because of the elevated upper mids in there. It's still usable, but it's probably not my preferred IM when I play drums, because when catching patterns, it's, you know, it gets tricky because the floor tom and the bass kick drum and the kick drum kind of like it's very close, and when you try to catch those fills, it's a little bit tricky and hard. So yeah, let's move on now to the comparison, and the first one that I can think of is probably be the NF Audio NA20. right there. So as you can see, the NA20, I mean, they kind of like follow the same gain in there, only that the NA20 has a little more bass. But on listening, I feel like they have a similar bass profile, and maybe it's just the overall shell design or the shell material, but I do feel like maybe a little more bass on the NA20 there to balance it out. But I don't know, I feel like the Sivga Q UTG has a better bass quality. It's a little bit tighter and probably quicker, and so probably that's why it doesn't really look a lot than how it's graphed. So in this case, the NF20, it depends on you. Like if you prefer, yeah, I'd probably prefer the Sivga Q UTG on this one here, only because it does sound a little bit special. There's something about that glass diaphragm that extract details, and I don't really hear a lot of peak in it. So for some reason, I don't know, maybe it's different for you, but yeah, I hear the elevation, but maybe the decay is too quick because it's glass. I don't know, who knows? But yeah, that is the comparison to the NF Echoes. Another one would be my, you know, like one of my benchmark single DDs in this price category, and that is the Duno Kima 2. Just to prove a point here about the tonality, right there, it's so different. It is just so different. You can see there that the Kima 2, it's just smoother overall. It sounds more natural. So yeah, if you want more details, then probably go for the UTG glass diaphragm. If you want a more natural replay, more natural timbre than the Kima 2, you're better off with the Kima 2. Next one is the EPZQ5, because that gain in there really resembles a lot. It feels like a lot of IMs before were going after this kind of upper mids gain, and the Q5, it's not so different. Look at that right there. So again, a similar gain in there, elevated. There's a peak at 5 or 6K. Maybe the bass profile is a little bit different. I do find that the EPZQ5 is brighter overall with some sub bass in it, and the Sivga Q is mid bass focused. So well, the EPZQ5 is also cheaper. But yeah, you can hear the quality of the driver there. It does feel like there is some special sauce in this glass diaphragm. So up to you. If you want a cheaper one than the EPZQ5, glass diaphragm, of course, the Q UTG. And finally, we have here, it's from the same company, or maybe, I don't know, sister, or like their sub-brand, the K-Fine Clean. Man, the K-Fine Clean, look at that in there. It's just very smooth, and it's cheaper. And when I listen to the Clean, it just sounds more engaging and more natural. And it's cheaper too. It's really up to you. I just feel like the Clean is just it's safer. The Clean is a safer IM to recommend because it doesn't have any peaks. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna like it. But if you're in the hobby for, you know, if you wanna try and experiment different kinds of driver, then give the Q a try. If you're just a beginning hobbyist, probably the Clean is the best set to get. So yeah, I guess that is it for my review, guys. So Sivga Q UTG glass diaphragm, is it good? It's really up to you. For me, the elevation there on the upper mids it can be a hit and miss, and probably me, as you know, I'm playing drums right now, I do feel like the elevation there kind of like changes the timbre a little bit, which is hard for me to, you know, like especially when learning patterns and fills. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you think my content is helpful, consider liking and subscribing, and have a great day. Bye for now.